Hello, friends and gamers. My name is Jinx, and welcome to Operation Hats. It is January 1940 and the German 8th turn. Thank you, everybody, for your participation on this little community on my channel. Thank you for the likes and the comments. I do appreciate it. As you may have noticed, if you're a follower of my channel, I try to structure what I do based a little bit on what people seem to like, as well as what I like. So if certain events and certain things I try to do don't seem to garner much interest, I tend to back away from those little projects. But I tend to try to keep on filming and you know, games are a little bit easier because it doesn't take too much thinking in those regards as opposed to something a little bit more in depth. But I do plan on doing some kind of strategy videos in the not too distant future. So, as you may know, Operation Hats is part of the Global War 1936 annual tournament for 2024. And it's the first year we're running this thing, and I'm trying to figure out exactly how to play this out, how to design the system. Now, my initial concept is we have 4 games going on right now, and so after these 4 games conclude, the people with basically the winners and the highest victory point winners will move on to the next tier of games. In a process of elimination, all those that didn't make that cut get dropped to the wayside. And so we have 1 or 2 games going on in the tier 2. And the winners of those ones move on to perhaps a tier 3 game, and the ultimate winner is crowned as the tournament champion of 2024. That's the current system we have in place. But I've been talking with some of the moderators about what they would prefer, what they like, and they're proposing something called a Swiss style game. Now, the way the Swiss style would work is that we'd have everybody would play 3 games, and the person with the highest victory points across the entirety of the games would be crowned the tournament winner. Now, the biggest difference, I suppose, between the two is that in the Swiss style, you would have 1 winner, whereas in the elimination style, you might have 2 if the Axis or the Allies would win. So it'd be 2 or perhaps 3 if you include the Italian player. People would be crowned tournament winners in the elimination style. Whereas in the Swiss style, we'd only have 1 because it'd be the highest victory point winner, unless of course they tied for victory points, which is another story altogether. But there's been talk back and forth as to which way is better. Now, my personal preference is I like the elimination style because I like to keep myself free as much as possible to pursue other hobbies and projects. And so the concept of doing 3 games is a little bit daunting to me unless the stakes are high, like in a process of elimination. So I do know, of course, that I might be ending up playing 3 games if I do an elimination style. The same thing with the Swiss style, and I could of course drop out of the Swiss style game too if I do so poorly in first game and perhaps the second game. I could always drop out and not participate in the third, but I still like the simplicity of an elimination style, although it does have its flaws. So I put this all out there for you guys to have a think on it, and if you have any ideas as to a good system for running this tournament and how we should thin out the herd, or perhaps not thin out the herd, but crown the winner at the end of the game or end of the games, let me know if you have any ideas. And now let's dive into the summary for turn 7, the past turn that went by, starting with the Germans and what they're up to. Last turn, the Germans declared war on Switzerland, capturing that territory, taking, I think it was 2 losses in that fight. They also went and aligned Hungary. They misplaced them. I thought I could move them immediately. I couldn't, so we put them back over here. What else did we do? We moved some Iraqian units around. We dropped off the Deutsches Afrika Korps. We sent them off to Africa. And here they are. We lost 1 unit in the crossing of the Mediterranean due to ships being in the surface area here, but everything else managed to cross without too much hassle. And what else did we do? We did some con raiding in the Atlantic and across all the British Commonwealth lines. At the end of the day, we scored, I think it was about 16 IPP that we collectively, between the Italians and the Germans, took off the British convoy lines, which dropped their income from something like 26 or 27 down to only $11 left over. So it's quite a sizable chunk of British income that we took off the board. But they hammered us back and took off 1 submarine and almost 2nd submarine, but their seaplane managed to miss. So that's kind of the situation there. So we're ahead of the game, only slightly so far in the Battle of the Atlantic. And I'm sure things will turn once the technology shakes out in a different way. So that's it for the Germans, what they're up to. Nothing too dramatic for them. Turning our attention to the Russians and what they're up to. They engaged the enemy forces, or the Finnish forces in Helsinki, capturing that territory after a bit of a struggle, taking a few more losses than they would have liked, but they still managed to capture that territory, and that came with a bonus of, I think it was a bump on their technology charts. So that's what went there. They also pushed into Estonia and Latvia, capturing those 2 territories from the enemy, and they moved their forces into Crimea. They have a little herd of forces there, 2 Marines, 1 infantry, a couple aircraft, 3 aircraft in total, sitting in Crimea. Where are they off to? Well, there's 2 transports here in the Black Sea as well, plus 2 airborne, plus 2 transport planes sitting in Transcaucasia. Where are they off to? I suspect they're going to Turkey. I mean, they might, of course, go into central Romania, and perhaps I should prepare for that a little bit more adequately. But the thinking is, if they were going with a general push into the German states, then they would have already had some more units on the border. So I'm going to take a risk and not shore up my defenses here. I might actually turn these guys around and go the other way just to shore it up and send them in this direction. But for right now, I think that's kind of where I'll be happy with. It'll be a struggle to fight them off regardless. So I'm going to take the risk that they're going after Turkey. Because why else would they build up a fleet and not just generally push from when they had their forces in western Ukraine? And they also pushed down into Iran, capturing southern Iran with only a couple units left over and putting some pressure on both the Germans over here as well as the FEC forces in India. Turning our attention to the far east side, I see the Soviets have pulled off from the Japanese-Soviet border, the Manchurian border, pulling off into Buryatia, I believe it's called, yeah, Buryatia. So that's kind of the conclusion of what the USSR has been up to. The Japanese, for their part, keep on building up forces, keeping up building them up, and are attempting to hammer in at the gates of Yunnan. Although perhaps that tide will now turn, as there is a sizable 5AA parked in Yunnan, and that just takes the teeth out of what the Japanese have to strike against Yunnan forces. So perhaps we might see a bit of a stalemate on this front in the future. The CCP is also growing quite stronger. They have a railroad up in the north here, which gives them extra $2 per turn. Plus, they can get lend-lease from the Russians. And they also have 4 territories, which means that they each turn can collect a 33% chance of 2 militia or 1 infantry. So they have a decent thing going on there, a decent kind of collection of units coming up. So pretty sizable. The KMT for their part have been heavily supported by the Allies, by the USA, as well as mostly the FEC. So they have quite the sizable stacks of troops here as well. So it's going to be tough for Japan to, to deal with them here, either to eliminate them fully or to basically hold them back from rushing back into the Chinese territories here. Apart from that, Japan is just doing military training maneuvers across the ocean here and not getting too excited about anything. The Americans didn't succeed very well in their income increase rolls, only rolling a 3, so there's perhaps time for the Japanese to do whatever they like in the Asian co-prosperity sphere. Of course, we have the Far East, the French Far East are Free French, so that kind of takes a couple bucks away from the Japanese, but the Japanese do hold Siam. Now, of course, we have in British Malaya, there's 4 units involved in that territory, but Calcutta is heavily defended by plenty of forces. I say this every turn because it just astounds me how many troops they have over here. So well done, Davik. Turning our attention over here, the Anzac forces have started to coalesce in Sydney to strengthen that position from any potential Japanese aggression, perhaps, or to generally just have kind of a bit of a defense going on in this area. And that's kind of it for the Pacific theater. Turning our attention to the African theater, the British don't have much resources, so they didn't spend too much in Cape Town. The French attempted to make an attack, port strike here. They took off an Italian transport, which the Italians could barely, they really wanted to hold on to that transport. But the Free French lost a medium bomber, but they managed to take out the Italian transport as well. So they managed to take out some of the teeth of the Free French. Apart from that, the Free French had been sending cavalry across to Cameroon on their way to try to strike that one and take it off the board. So that's what's going on over here. The Italians, for their part, are dealing against a heavily armored foe here. There's plenty of enemies over here. It's 3 battleships collectively, a battle cruiser. There's something like 3 heavy cruisers, 4 heavy cruisers, 5 heavy cruisers, plus 3 destroyers, and 1, 2, 3 light cruisers. Just a bevy of troops. It's going to be difficult for the Italians to take them out whatsoever, especially considering that they can scramble these units, so that would be 4 units that they could scramble out, Free French as well as British battleships, to any combat in this area. Now, if the Free French do scramble out, then of course then the Vichy can engage them when they come into this territory, so we'll have basically like a 3-way fight, the Vichy hitting the Free French hitting everybody, the Italians, you get the idea, a whole mess of things going on. The Italians, for their part, picked up Transjordan as well as Cyprus with their fleet, and that's the situation there. So nothing too much else going on for them. And they're pretty happy with the fact that the Germans sent the Deutsches Afrika Korps, and the Deutsches Afrika Korps only lost 1 infantry crossing the Mediterranean, so they're pretty happy about that. So that's the situation for these guys. And the Commonwealth did some pretty sneaky moves. They used an airborne unit to drop off in Bessarabia, and this is pretty crucial because that's worth $3, well, 4 collectively to the Germans. 1 for Bessarabia plus the 3 for controlling all of Romania as a strategic bonus. So we have to do something about that. And I think we'll take the opportunity to attempt to take out this British transport plane because, hey, it's going to give the Russians an income boost, but right now the Russians don't seem too eager to rush after our territories, so perhaps this is an opportunity to exact a little bit of revenge against the enemy and prevent them from doing something like they just did to us once again. So I think that about sums up what went on for everybody, except for the Americans. We always forget about the Americans. Nothing too much. Much of their income went to everywhere else, to the FEC, to the KMT, the British over here, and a fighter plane in Ottawa. And apart from that, that's generally it. Nothing too much else going on. So that is the conclusion of the round summary. Let's turn to the German turn. But we have to first go with technology. Now, we have 4 dice to roll because we have 4 dice here in stage 3. Let's roll them because we need to know what our results are going to be. I did a bit of a longer intro because it's nice to give a little longer intro so that, we missed on everything except improved construction. All right. It's nice to give a little longer intro because we don't like to roll these research dice at the start if we don't have to, just because it's one less crucial thing to push back. But by having a long intro, it's not only interesting to some of the viewership, but it also allows us to kind of roll it a little bit later on. So with improved construction, let's go to our production chart. Now I have planned for the fact that we could have gotten improved construction, and so the red one here stands for that, so I don't have to sit around thinking about it too long. I was hoping to get advanced submarines, and that's why I saved some bucks left over, but we didn't. So even advanced mechanized would have been nice, but we didn't. We were pretty lucky last turn, so instead we're going to do this. 1, 2, 3. Actually, yeah. 4. There we go. So we have a few Marines going on here. 2 airborne, 1, 2, 3 infantry. We got blue division. We're going to send something over to the Vichy French. And I was thinking about either an airfield to the Italians or perhaps a destroyer to the Italians. So I'm thinking about it. I think we're going to send an airfield over to the Italians for right now. And then we're going to go for some submarines here. So we have 4 submarines that are going to be built. Although I feel like that might be a little much for what we want to do. Thinking. If we take out one of these Marines, take out one of these subs, that's 4, 5, we can get 3 extra infantry and still build a few subs. Is that right? I think that's right. 1, 2, because we need to start being a little bit more defensive in our maneuvers here. So there's that. So we could probably delete all this. We're just going to build what we see here and be pretty happy with it. Yeah, all right. Okay, that's what we're going to build. So we're going to lend these to the Italians. We're going to send an airfield, infantry unit to the Vichy, conclude our airfield in Normandy that we're building, and start some shipping over here as well. So I'm going to just leave that as is for right now, and we're going to scooch over to the combat moves section, starting with our far east side. So we have a submarine that's going to raid in Seazone P50. We have a battlecruiser that's going to raid in P62. We have a submarine in I4 that's going to come across to the Cape of Good Hope and do some convoying here. And we also have a seaplane that's going to come to this position as well. Maybe we're going to take off a couple extra bucks off the enemies. That would be nice. All right. So those are our combat moves here. We're going to send a bit of a risky attack. Medium bomber is going to go 1, 2, to Bangui Chari and engage this cavalry. It's going to be risky because he's going to be rolling a 2. We're going to be rolling a 7. It could be as crucial. Well, the gains are minimal, but we could hold on to this Vichy Cameroon territory for a little bit longer. So, I don't know if it's worthwhile doing or not. So we'll leave it at that. That's going on there. We're going to also attack these guys. So we're doing a bunch of risky attacks. To Bessarabia, 1 infantry from central Romania to Bessarabia. We're sending this German air transport. It's going to pick up this airborne unit and drop him off in Bessarabia as well. That gives us a little bit increased chance of doing some damage against them. And then from Slovakia, 1 infantry, 1 mountain infantry rather, and 2 infantry from Warsaw, and 1 mechanized infantry. So we're going to engage them here. Hopefully it works to our favor. Over here, we're going to make an attack against Norway. And so we've got a few more risky attacks going in. 2 airborne units to southern Norway. Dang. Okay, we're going to send a fighter as well because we really don't have as much as I'd hoped. Yeah, to go into this territory. You know what I mean? Like, we need some more kind of proper units to go into that fight. These guys are going to go in here. And then up north, we have, sorry, let's take out the Navy here. There's a torpedo boat destroyer, a tactical bomber, and a fighter is going to come to the sea zone as well, hoping to wipe out this Norwegian fleet, or at least damage it sizably. And over here, we're going to load up a marine and an infantry. And then our fleet here is going to go 1, 2, and there might be a combat. I didn't get around to reaching out to Davik to see if this submarine wants to engage our forces. We have a battleship and a destroyer, and he could combat them, so we might have to leave that as is. But we're going to assume that he's not going to come out of the water and just keep on being in this position to keep raiding us turn after turn, as opposed to trying to risk going after a battleship. It'd actually do me a favor if he came out of the water, so I don't think he's going to go that direction. So we have a few risky attacks altogether. The riskier ones being against the Norwegian fleet, as well as, well, I think they're all, the medium bomber here especially is one. So let's leave that for last, or one of the last, starting with the convoy raiding there with our battle cruiser, blue being defense, red being offense, and hopefully taking off some off the Anzac. I think we lost a blue dice. There you go. So 3 against 6, so our battle cruiser missed entirely. Now what about the one off the coast of Singapore, our little submarine? Hey, we missed that one as well. Okay, so this turn we got 0 on that front. Now the one off the Cape of Good Hope, the submarine there. Both ones. All right, so we did get something here. We did get $2 of damage. So perhaps we're going to see that the enemy is going to be keeping much of their income this turn, or at least the FEC and the Anzac. Ah, you know what? Yeah, there's that. So we did not manage to get our seaplane in here. Okay, now before I roll that, I need to take a look off the coast of Canada here. So we're sending this submarine over here as well. I think we are going to go this direction. Submarine's going to come here as well, to A18. Or is it? Because there's pros and cons. If his fighter engages us here, which why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he indeed? If his fighter engages our forces, then I'll submerge, and then his transports can slip by anyways, which is a little added bonus for us. So I think what we'll do is we'll kind of hog tie our opponent to some extent. We had this submarine here. Yeah, this submarine, we have a submarine A18 is going to come to A19, do a convoy raid here. And we have a submarine sitting over here in A20. It's going to go 1, 2, and convoy raid here. So we kind of force our opponent to only hit us with his forces in A27. So I think that's what we'll do. So we'll do the one in the Halifax line, and hopefully all this still has an... Oh, you know what? I feel like... Yeah, there we go. Oops, and I think I threw something over here. Bad dice, bad dice. Halifax line is nothing to us. And next dice here. Last one. Okay, we managed to do them for 2 damage. Alright, so pretty miserable results this turn in regards to that. All things being told. Alright, so there's that. And now we go to let's go to Bessarabia. So we have 1 infantry at 3, 1 regular infantry at 2, because the airborne unit gets +1 on the first round of combat. So we have 1 at 3 and 1 at 2. And I'm going to roll the green dice, which will represent the defender at 2. So our blue dice will be a 3, purple dice at 2. And we succeeded, so we managed to capture Bessarabia. Now on to our attack. I realize, of course, that the Russians are going to get a plus to their income as well. And I suppose I ought to roll for them. I don't really know what's the best course of action in that regards. So now for this fight, we have 1 at 3 and 1, 2, 3 at 2, and he's got 1 at 4, 1 at 2. So he'll have maybe I'll roll these guys separately. So 1 at 3 and then 1, 2, 3 at 2. Oh, we got 2 hits. All right, and so we win in that fight, and the defender one at 4 and one at 2. Both misses. All right. So we managed to eliminate our enemy forces without taking any casualties ourselves. And as a bonus, we managed to capture $2 worth and also liberate Romania entirely from the enemy. So good stuff for us. Good stuff for us. Turning our attention to the battle in the North Sea here, or the Skagerrak, the Danish Straits perhaps. We have a coastal destroyer, coastal defense ship, and our torpedo boat destroyer. So the coastal defense ship rolls at a 6. Oh well, we'll do ours first. So we have 1 at 2, 1 at 6, and 1 at 7 with a target selection. Let's see. Tactical bomber, score a hit, please. Yes, we scored a hit. We scored 2 hits. Look at that. That's awesome. Wiped out the enemy. And now hopefully the enemy does not score 2 hits, and then we'll be pretty happy about the whole situation. So purple is 2, and then the green is a 6. And we managed to score. We managed to sink the Norwegians. Look at that. We've had some luck. Convoy rating was pretty horrible, but we've had some luck here otherwise. So good stuff. Good stuff. All right, Norway battle. Now, the enemy is going to be a little stronger in this one. Let's see, we have 2 airborne units rolling at 2s on the first round, because they normally would roll 3s, but because we're mountainous, we're at 2s, and a fighter here at 6. So let's see. I much prefer rolling dice 6s down this, as opposed to dice 12s down this, as opposed to dice 6s. We missed on round 1. Uh-oh, this is where the tide might turn and the enemy might succeed. Here's a dice at 4 for the enemy. I have a feeling, yeah, he scored a hit. So one of our airborne comes off the table. I think I could roll this all collectively. Please, please, please. Miss. And miss. Everybody missed. So our fighter missed, he missed. Yeah, because we'd be rolling at 1s now on attack. So here's round 3. He missed, we succeeded, and we managed to capture southern Norway. Excellent, excellent. All right, and now we did take a casualty that time, but you know what? It was worth it. Definitely worth it. For that $1, it'll take us 3 turns to get back what we've spent on it, but you know, it's still worth it. Okay, lastly, we have Trondelag. We have a battleship. A battleship, as well as destroyer and transport. Okay, so our battleship gets to roll. Sorry, I got tied up thinking there for a second. Battleship will roll at a 4, and our 2 regular dudes will be rolling at 1s. Let's see if the battleship scored a hit. It scored a hit! It scored a hit! Alright, so that battle concludes, and we managed to win with only 1 casualty so far. And we're going to immediately go into port here. That's what I was hemming and hawing about, because there's pros and cons to going in port. His aircraft can go 1, 2, 3, 4 land in Trondelag, but of course the dangers are I can hit him in Trondelag with my entirety of my air force plus all 3 of my surviving units. So he can engage me in Trondelag, but I could definitely give him a good whack in return, right, if he does go that direction. All right, now last and probably the most crucial battle, the medium bomber. And I have this really sneaking suspicion it's going to hurt me good. So I'm rolling a 7 and the enemy is rolling a purple dice at 2. Oh, yes, boy. All right, so he missed. I just score and take out the Free French Cavalry. Oh, goodness. All right, we are pretty happy about that. Now, I'm pretty dissatisfied with my submarines, only taking off collectively $4 of damage from the British. That is pretty pathetic stuff. But 1, 2, 3, 4. They only still have 16. And at the end of the day, 16 is 16 is what the Italians make, so I'll cringe my teeth and call it good enough. All right, now we move our forces non-combat move. Let me see. So this Maritime Air Patrol is going to come back and land in Madagascar. Takes care of that one. This medium bomber, one, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It could land here in Western Egypt. I think, yeah, Western Egypt. Now we could move some units here from Syria to southern Iraq. 1 infantry. Airborne is going to come to Transjordan. Our Deutsches Afrika Korps can move collectively a bunch. So the army group is going to go all the way to Lower Egypt. But we have to leave some units behind. So we aren't affected by the desert penalties for movement. So certain things can move quite far, but this can't go all the way. And also one of the infantry can't make it all the way either. One of them I could actually rail in Africa, so that's going to be what I'll do. But the other two dudes have to stay with this poor little medium bomber in this area right here. Good. Now, over here we have a fleet that we're going to move. We're going to pick up this anti-aircraft gun and infantry. And we're going to move these guys 1, 2, 3. Let me quickly check the price of anti-aircraft gun. 4. Okay, yeah, I think we could move it over here to Lower Egypt. I suppose we can join these guys over here, the Deutsches Afrika Korps. Perhaps this is a little overkill for this theater, but yeah, that's what it is. We're gonna go in port with this ship. Get in there. There we go. All right, this torpedo boat destroyer is gonna come from the Adriatic Sea into this sea zone at M4. And this destroyer is gonna go in port over in Tripoli. All right. Okay, turning our attention to other parts. The transport plane. This transport plane at 1, 2. I think it has to land in central Romania. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They do have a movement range of 7, so it has to go there. I'm going to move these infantry to central Romania. I'm going to move some cavalry. This cavalry here is going to go 1, 2 spaces all the way to Switzerland. This cavalry is going to go... Actually, this cavalry is going to go... Yeah, sure, Switzerland. This cavalry is going to go to Alsace-Lorraine. Those 2 cavalry, and from Switzerland, 1, 2 to Picardy. We're probably going to set up another little army group here in Picardy, because she's going to get crowded. Army Group Bear. And we're going to move these 2 armored divisions to this position. And from this position, it's a good launching position in case we need to hit our opponents if they make a landing on our coastlines. That's the idea. All right, that takes care of that. From Western Germany to Belgium, 1 infantry. Cool. All right, now we're gonna, sorry, let's take a look. Königsberg to Warsaw, 1 mechanized. And now for the Air Force. So the Air Force that came up to the Danish Straits can go all the way to Western Germany. The Strat bombers can also do the same thing, but the fighter that joined them up there can't. The fighter has to go back to Denmark. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, too far away, lands in Denmark. Good. These guys I've taken care of. The destroyer has to stay on the sea zone, but we're going to tuck him all the way on the farthest side, so perhaps my opponents will forget they exist. And there's always that psychological battle, right? I think that's it. I think I've covered everything. Let me just double check here. I don't think the enemy built anything that could hurt me. My battlecruiser here. Yeah, I think we're good. Alright, I keep that battlecruiser there to negate 2 bucks from the Anzac each turn. Oh, okay, I have some air forces here. So this air force is going to come to Western Germany. 2 fighters. 1, 2, 3. 1 fighter from Hungary. 1, 2, 3 here as well. Now we have a sizable, was it 4 fighters parked in Western Germany. Pretty tickled about that. That works for us. Okay, I think I could safely delete all my markings on the map and kind of clean things up. Beauty. Again, not the best situation in regards to convoy lines, but we had a good turn last turn, and the dice tend to average out sometimes. Okay, I did have some more I wanted to do, and I deleted that perhaps prematurely. We're going to rail some units around. So from Bavaria, we have 4 rails that we can do. So we're going to rail from West Poland. Yeah. We're going to rail some units. So from West Poland all the way to Rome. From Eastern Germany, we're going to send to Northern Italy. From Bavaria, we're going to send a unit all the way to Southern Italy. Yeah, I think so. And the blue division we're going to send to Paris. And that covers everything there. Now to the, now over here to our production chart. Grab these guys. Okay, so I'm going to first bump some units down. So these 2 battleships are coming down the chart here. I know this is getting a little long in the tooth now, this video. I tend to try to make things a little shorter. That just didn't work out today. I'm yammering too long. Man, I've been so tired lately. I've been working quite long hours and days, and that's my usual complaint, of course, but it's been rough on me. So I need to get some proper sleep. I actually already slept. Slept maybe 2 hours last night. Then I got home from work, slept a little bit, and then started making a video. So that's been my day. Oops, wrong side. 1, 2, 3. All right. Okay, and then submarines. And the rest of this, I think I could carry to the map like this. No, I can't. Yes and no. Yes, I can. Oh, I should say for the record that I'm quickly building this Italian airfield using improved construction. I could do 2 things in 1 turn, so that's what I'm doing there. Yeah, and I think the rest of it I could take to the map. After this, I just need to adjust the income, collect the income, and I'll do at that point. All right, so Blue Division has to go to Berlin. We're going to build a marine in Western Germany. Vichy infantry, of course, goes down to Vichyland. We're going to build 1 submarine over here in the Adriatic Sea. We're going to build 2 submarines up here in A11. We're going to build 2 airborne units up here as well. And then we're going to build an airfield, complete our airfield over here. And we're going to build for the Italians an airfield in Sicily. Because you never know where they want to go. They might have some far off destinations that they want to get to this turn. All right. And then we have a bunch of infantry. So we're going to build 1 in Warsaw. We're going to build 1 in central Romania. We have 4 left. We're going to build 1 in Paris. Paris. 3 more left. Going to build 1 in, let's say 1 over, another 1 in Western Germany. Eastern Germany, perhaps. You know what? No. Yeah, 1 in Berlin. I know it's probably not going to be attacked, but there's always that chance, right? There's always that chance that somebody sees something that you don't. And it always makes me nervous. Because I know there's people that are much smarter at this kind of stuff than me. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put 1 of my airborne units. Would it be beneficial to put it here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not really. I don't think there's anything really we can attack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Unless we go deep into Russian territory and take out Moscow. Aha! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nah. I like the thing we've got going on now. We seem to be shifting into certain Certain ways of thought. No, we need to like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we probably won't build anything here and leave it up to our strat bombers to do any kind of movements that we want to do. All right. You know what? I guess I could build submarines over here as well. And that's what we're going to do. I'm going to build a submarine and put it directly in base. And you know what? Let's do two. That'll work. Am I free from being attacked by the enemy in that position? I might be. Subbans. Fortifications. Spanish Civil War. Too far. Shipyards. Fortifications. Dockyards. Sub-base. Maximum damage 3. Ports. Bases. This is considered a base. Alright. Hmm. Da, 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 da. Anti-aircraft to protect from being bombed. Okay. So we can be bombed. I wonder if we can use... Yeah, I wonder if... I'm thinking I might need to consult some stuff here in a minute, but I have a feeling that I could still be hit in port. Although, does it count if you're in port in this thing here? Da, 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 da. Maybe I shouldn't just read this right now. Maybe I should do a little bit later. Surface ships. Submarines. Undamaged friendly submarine as being in port. While in port, can be attacked by attacking aircraft and defending fighters and ships in port. Alright, with that in mind, 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe I will drop off 2 fighters in this theater to protect them in port. That's the downside. So retrospectively, maybe I should have made this port in Normandy as opposed to, then it wouldn't work so good. But yeah, perhaps back in Normandy because I could 1, 2. I wanted that versatility to come out in either direction. But yeah, it would have been better here, I think. Yeah. Let's see. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't go there. 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, yeah, I'm kind of okay with facing the odds if the Brits want to try to engage me and strike me in port, because then I can defend with the fighters plus those submarines too. Alright, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not quite. I think we're gonna do that. I think we're gonna do that. But in exchange of doing that, we're going to leave a couple units in Normandy as well. We're going to send 2 battleships and instead of railing, 2 battleships, 2 medium, whatever those things are called, armor, and they're going to go to Normandy. I think that's, and then we're going to rail a unit over here as well. So that leaves us a sizable force if he does decide to attack our forces, or does decide to drop off some troops. 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, he could actually 1, 2, 3. He could pick up 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, sorry, 1, 3 at maximum. Dropping off here plus his air force. That'd be quite the fait accompli if he managed to pull that off. But yeah, we're gonna do that like that and leave it at that. Yeah, alright, that's it for our turn. Okay, now to the collect income phase. So we picked up 5 territories worth of stuff. 2 for Norway, 1, 2. Oh, you know what? Bessarabia, Poland, and Bulgaria, which we didn't do yet. So Bulgaria is over here. And these now become the German units. Okay, so that's good news. $5 there. And it also means that we get our bonuses back. 5 for Romania, 5 for Norway. So that's 55, 60, 65, and 70. $70. 70 bucks to spend on the subsequent turn. Now, did I reduce the enemy income? I believe I did. I believe I did for my attacks against them. I also need to roll a recruitment for both the Spanish and the Vichy French. Spanish at 9, first time I missed that one, and a 2 for the Vichy. All right. Militia. Now, I wonder where I can place them, if it's anywhere or only in specific territories. Because if it's specific territories, that opens things up. Surrender, issue creation, build chart. Okay, we'll just delete. Delete. There's territories. French. Gets recruitment roll 2.7. I know this video is going on kind of longer than a person would like. I know for me it has 2.7. Quick. 2.7. 2 point. What? Did I read that wrong? Okay. Quick as the wind, my friend. Quick as the wind. 12.7. Ah, goodness. That means we have to go back. 12.7. High speed. My mic's going to quit soon, I think. 10, 11, 12. Of course, it makes sense because they've been in recruitment. Okay, do not make a recruitment roll. Land, you get placed in a land zones possessed by a controlled nation, or advance one ship on the oh, that's kind of cool, or full facility repair, except for factions during ongoing offshore land zones. Okay, so yeah, we do get to do that. Nice. I think the most sensible places would be Cameroon and probably northern Algeria. Can I put them in both in Cameroon? Let's not do that. Cameroon and French Morocco. That's pretty cool. All right. Now let's do it in northern Algeria. Make that a little bit harder for the enemy. Okay, so we've collected our income. We've rolled for that. There's always going to be something I missed, so I think we've adjusted our income. Oh, we haven't dropped the British down. 1, 2. That's it. Now, for my peace of mind, and while I have you on the phone, I'm going to drop down this down by 2. And I also get to move up the equivalent. So this is actually the collected income of everybody. So we went up by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I also want to include these two features here, Norway and Romania. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So happy days. We are collecting a sizable income there, and a total for the Axis powers of 129 bucks versus the Allied collection of. This might not be updated, so it could be way off. There used to be like a little rounding here too for the bits. Here's like a 74. So yeah, we kind of double them almost in income at this point. Not quite, but you get the idea. All right, gentlemen, thank you all for watching. Sorry, it's been a little bit of a yammering kind of an affair this time around. But yeah, thanks all for watching. Talk to you later. Cheers.